Welcome to Don't Quote Me on That. One day we will have an intro, but today is not that day. Hi, this is Elanor.
This is Kalina.
And welcome back to Don't Quote Me on That, where we talk about whatever we want, and now there's two of us again.
Thankfully, because there was supposed to be two of us the last time, and then there wasn't.
That is correct. Unfortunately,
I don't even have a joke about that. I'm just bitter.
You're bitter. I didn't catch on to that, actually.
Don't worry. If you listened to the last episode, you would have.
Kalina is very, very nice to me in the face of my family emergency that caused me to have a couple weeks off. I can feel the empathy.
I don't recall a family emergency. I do recall something about Young Gravy. If I recall correctly. Young Gravy was definitely involved. And as fine as he is.
The emergency is that I wanted to start a family with Young Gravy. That counts.
Yeah. I mean, he is 6'6" though, so never mind, I get it.
Anyway, today we're talking about the critically acclaimed... I don't actually know if it's critically acclaimed. We don't do any research here.
Finish your introduction.
Yes. Sorry. I'm trying to figure out what the opposite of acclaim is. But there's not a good word for it.
It's not.
I thought it would be something fun like disclaim, but it's not. There's not criticize basically.
You did maybe disparage, critically disparage.
Disparage? Oh, I like disparage. Oh. Anyway, the critically acclaimed and sometimes occasionally disparaged album, Rush by Måneskin. It is their third studio album, and this is not the fifth time we've tried to record this episode.
Absolutely not.
So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna start right in with the songs, and then all of our little commentary will come up naturally within the songs. Unless you do have any starting thoughts that you would like to start with.
The only thing I wanted to say is I didn't realize this album was 17 songs, and that's a lot.
Yeah, that's too long for an album. Oh, also, this Måneskin is Italian, and Måneskin?
On. Like you're doing... like you're doing a really bad Jamaican accent.
Okay.
I'm so smart. I can make that joke. My dad's Jamaican.
Yes, third album. They got popular through Eurovision. They're Italian. And I think we can just jump into Own My Mind.
What a song.
Oh my God, what a song.
I'm trying to find the words.
Such a good starter for an album.
The album opener to me, it doesn't have to be mind-blowing. Because sometimes I think when artists put together an album, they're very intentional about where they put what songs. So sometimes they're trying to give you an experience of the album as a whole. But I won't lie to you, I do love when the album opener is just off the bat, fantastic. Like the priority wasn't necessarily, it was less so the story of the album as a whole, and here's some vibes, and yeah, this is gonna go along with the rest of the album, but vibes.
Boom. Yeah.
Vibes.
I know, in some, I believe this came up when I was doing some research for our Taylor Swift episode, and so I could be misremembering this, but there was one comment I saw that, for her albums, the first couple of songs usually kind of tie more in with the vibe of the previous album, and then it kind of grows into her quote-unquote new sound. And I've never listened to any other Måneskin to know if that's what they're doing here. This song is a banger. This song just straight banger. Perfect.
I also think even if we listened to their stuff before, it would be different, because I'm pretty sure their stuff before was mostly in Italian, if not entirely in Italian. Funnily enough, because they are Italian. So I think comparing it to them doing a transition into this sound wouldn't make sense, because I think where they were before versus now. Like, they've blown up a lot, especially in the last 2 years. But like, it wasn't like they blew up with Eurovision and then that cover of Begging and then kind of like dropped off the face of the earth and then put out an album. I feel like they've been fairly consistent. So it makes sense that this like could stand alone.
Yeah.
That's the basically very long point I talked myself into.
This song sounds so good.
So good. I really like his voice. It's not like, I think he does have a unique voice. It's not necessarily the most distinct voice ever. But I also think, especially with rock music, first of all, I thought this album was going to be a whole bunch of love songs, and I don't like love songs, but I do love rock and roll, just in any shape or form. And this song had so much, I'm supposed to be talking about his voice, but this song had so much bass in it, and I love me some bass.
I did not
anything.
Really, I'm not a rock and roll girly. This might shock you. I was genuinely surprised at how much I liked this album because I liked it so much.
I definitely thought I was gonna like it. I didn't think I was gonna like it as much as I did, and I think anyway. But I was saying it was like, I think with rock especially, but like music in general, sometimes vocal ability is not the most important part. It's emotion, which I think this comes up more in other songs, but like he definitely has. But he also has vocal ability.
Mm-hmm. One of the other times, no, I'm gonna save this because it's your point. I'll let you bring it up later. So you go.
Okay. Well, no, I was just thinking a little bit about like kind of like the way he writes about love, and to me, again, I don't really like love songs, but like I like Hosier.
Mm-hmm.
One day I'll get that right. But like I think he writes about Mr. Andrew from Ireland, writes about love in a way that like is like yes, I'm devoted to my love, but it's not like the end all be all, but like in this moment you were the most wonderful thing that's ever happened. But like in a way that's not cheesy and annoying to me. And like I really got that vibe here, just like a heavier version of it. And I really like the bridge. He goes, "Do you wanna," and then he pauses, "a long night. Do you wanna be mine?" I just like the delivery on that. And also, I know I said this before, there was so much bass in this song.
There was so much bass in this song. Oh my god, I started listening to it while I was driving. And this is so much fun to listen to when you drive. And I just 10 out of 10. Beautiful. Are we ready to go to the next song?
Yeah, I think we're just going to wax poetic about this song if we keep going.
Yeah, we really are.
It's good. You listen to it, please. It's so good.
The next one is Gossip.
I think this was one of their singles.
Yes, it was. And it has Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine.
Yes, which also great. Listen, the moral of the story is I got a lot of praise. I was not expecting to be as impressed. I thought I would like the album. I thought it'd be fun. I was very impressed. Also, I saw some promo they did for the song, and it was like, it was funny and cute. It was like, since the song's called Gossip, they'd be like, "I heard," and then they would pick a member from the band and just say some really random, not true gossip about them. So like one of them was like, "I heard that Vic and Ethan," not Ethan, what's the other fella's name? The lead guy, Vic and the lead fella.
Oh,
Damiano.
Yeah, it's Damiano.
Yes.
Damiano.
We're not Italian.
We're saying that wrong.
I don't know if anyone could tell. I think between the two of us, not 1 ounce of Italian blood.
Nope. I'm white, but I am not Italian white.
Yeah. Well, if you ask some Italians, they would argue.
Yeah, sorry guys. I don't mean to say that Italian isn't white. The color of my skin does not come from Italy. You can be whatever you want to be. Please don't be upset at us.
I'm not white, so I'm removing myself from this conversation out of respect. Anyway, there was like Damiano and Vic hook up, and then they were pretending to make out, and then another one was, I don't remember the other one, but it was like, I heard that Ethan does something. I don't know. I love Ethan. Hi, Ethan. If you're listening to this, hello. I'm free anytime. Anyway, this is Gossip. Also, one thing I noticed coming into this song was he Damiano, the lead singer. Also, I feel bad. The other fella, I think his name is Thomas. That's the four of them in the band. Hi, Thomas. Also, we haven't mentioned you yet. So, and Damiano, when he sings, he has a tendency to like fit a lot of syllables into a short beat. And I was wondering if that was like a English language thing, given that, you know, English is not his first language, or if that's just the style. I think it works really well, and it didn't like take away from the song. It wasn't like it stuck out. I just happened to make note of it. And
it was, yeah, that's what I was going to bring up a second ago, because when I was listening to it after you said that, I caught it more and more.
I think if someone who spoke English as a first language sung these songs, they wouldn't sound good.
I think Kalina more think a lot about the English language.
Yes.
Kalina's taught it before. But we both kind of spent time. Anyway, moral of the story is I think you can kind of tell in some parts that this wasn't written 100% by somebody whose first language is English, but that's just a fact, and it's not a bad thing, because like Kalina said, like fitting the different syllables in, and even the way like the imagery is completely different. And I have to imagine some of that, because I don't know how Italian is structured as a language, but some languages are structured differently and images just are communicated differently. And I think it's very interesting to see like different kind of cultural and like linguistic traditions kind of get moved and be translated into English. And I think it's extra interesting that it works so well.
Yeah, I tried not to make too many comments on like the language structure or, you know, delivery too often, if I thought it was a ESL thing and not so much a like artistic choice. But yeah, I think a lot about the English language, and I was thinking about when I learned French. And one time in my French class, my teacher said basically you learn a lot about a culture if you look at their language and like see how they think about different concepts. So like time, and I can't remember the example, but I'm learning Slovak right now, and one thing I've noticed is like in English, if I wanted to say 5:30, I would say it was 5:30, but in Slovak, if you want to say 5:30, you basically say it's 6:30. And like I was trying to explain that, I was asking to confirm that was it. And when I was explaining it to a Slovak person, they were like, oh, yeah, I guess we do say that. Because, like, it's so intrinsic to them. So, like, little things like that, like, oh, a culture approaches different things. So, yeah, I do think it translated over very well. This song had a metaphor throughout it, gossip. So, using gossip is like a drink. So, he says...
the line I believe you're talking about is sip the gossip, drink till you choke, sip the gossip, burn it down your throat.
Yeah. So like gossip has a shot. And like I guess like maybe this thing that brings you momentary pleasure, but maybe like bad. Anyway, it's so fun. Also, I really like the delivery he has on choke. He says drink till you choke. Fantastic. And he says this is one of the opening lines. He goes, this place is a circus. You just see the surface, which I thought was fun and kind of in the same realm as the language thing. Is they are much more liberal with cursing, but to me it feels more genuine. I think sometimes in English songs, like especially in heavier music, it can be very easy to curse just to curse and be edgy and cool. Whereas here, I feel like it was a necessary part of them telling the story they're telling in the song.
I agree. And to piggyback off of that, I love it when a non-American is like, this is going to sound bad, I like it when they also aren't enthused by the American dream, because I feel like, I don't know, I feel some sort of vindication.
I put in that line too. He goes, this is the American dream, which one was another example of like his kind of quick delivery, but also, yeah, because I think it's like everyone has a different perception of the American dream. Americans, people who like move to America, but I think their perspective is unique in the sense that like I think a lot of times when people talk about the American dream, it might be immigrants coming to America and working for a better life. but it's not like life is ever necessarily luxurious and easy, and for the most part, you know what I mean? Life is hard. It's just better opportunities for them. Whereas here, I think, like, arguably, world famous musicians have a pretty luxurious, comfortable, easy life. I'm not saying their life is easy, but like compared to
the worries
typical,
are definitely a lot different.
yeah. So
Then
like to hear them also what their perception of the American dream is, and that it's not great. I did like to hear that perception.
Also, I think Kalina and I both just love when songs are mean about the entire concept of fame. And
yeah, there's a way to do it, and I think this does it well.
It really, truly does.
No one wants to hear, a famous person complain about how they're so sad in their big house. But like, I think approaching it in the sense that what you wanted is not necessarily what you expected. And like everything does have its downfalls, like it can't all be good. I think they did it very well. They
did. Another 10 out of 10 for Måneskin.
Listen, this album started off strong, so I was starting to get worried we were gonna, cause like not everything can be good,
Not everything can be good, and you know what? I do think later on, perhaps I'll have some critiques. But unfortunately, the next song is my favorite song on the album, so that's not going to start now.
Yeah, the next song is Time Zone, and Elanor and I, if you've been around for a while, know for a fact we have thoughts about time zones, and they make us sad. Is the long story short? Okay, they make us sad.
Yeah, this is probably the most consistent thing we talk about.
We somehow bring it up all the time, even when it's not relevant.
We do. We always make it. Well, okay, we don't always make it relevant, but we always try.
As I said earlier, I'm not a love song lady, but the opening lines are, "You wear my old clothes, but you're wearing my old clothes, but you wear it better." And then he says, "And every time I see your face, the moon should be jealous." And I was supposed to act normal about that afterwards. I'll be honest with you, I don't know what the next few lines are, because I kind of heard the moon should be jealous, and then I blacked out for a little bit.
Fair enough. Which is good, because the next verse, not the next lines, but the next verse is my favorite, where he says, "Now I know you're sleeping where I'm supposed to be. Wish I could have stayed." And then... the only thing that keeps us apart is 7,000 miles. Then he says, "running like a mad dog." And then the only thing that keeps us apart is a different time zone. And I know I sound angry, and that is because I am. And it's just a very rude way to phrase it. And I was listening to this for the first time while I was cooking, and I had to stop cooking because I got really emotional.
I think there's like a time and a place to be poetic and then be straightforward. Like in Gossip, the metaphor of the drinking, talking about one thing while alluding to something else. Great, 10 out of 10. But like here, he's putting it, like, I think it's such a difficult thing, that like for him to say it so plainly, because it's tough, is like the only, like there's only one thing standing in our way, but it's such a great big thing, this 7,000 miles. And then also, I think there's a very big... I always find there's a parallel between living abroad and being a rock star. Not that I think I'm...
They're basically the same thing.
A rock star. But like, I think similar themes come up, especially in the terms of time zones. He says, so fuck what I'm dreaming, this fame has no meaning. Which reminded me a little bit of like Faithfully by Journey and Wheel in the Sky, also by Journey, and Home Sweet Home by Motley Crue, and kind of this idea that like, and similar to Gossip in the sense that like what I dreamed of and wanted, I've achieved all of those things, and the pitfalls are one worse than I expected them to be, and it's not as great as I expected this to be, because yeah, I get to travel and play music and be in a band and live the dream and have tons of fans, but I'm away from the one thing I love. And the reason I always think that reminds me of like living abroad is because the same thing, like people live abroad for various reasons. And I was just telling someone this today, I haven't lived at home for like any consistent period of time since 2017. And so, like, yeah, I've been home and I've seen my family and they've come to visit, yada, yada, yada. But it's not the same as, like, living at home all the time. And, like, I love my life. I have my dream job right now. I get to travel. I've had great experiences. I've gone to college, yada, yada, yada. But, like, sometimes I just really want to be home. And the only thing that's standing between me and doing that is 7,000 miles in the ocean. Which is that's a lot of things.
Yeah, it is a lot of things. And it's, yeah, whatever. This song was really good, and it made me very upset, but in a good way.
Well,
Because
I'm sure there was one thing in here that you didn't like, if you wanted to talk about it, because he says,
yeah, this one's just a me thing. I don't particularly love being very straightforward about the fact that you have sex in a show or in a song. Like, I'm happy for you. I don't need to hear that. There's one line, and it starts off very nicely, and I like. He says, "Tomorrow I've got another plane. I'm not going to take it. Instead, I'm going to fly straight to you. I paid double for the tickets," which I like and I would do, and unfortunately I have done. But then he goes straight into says, "We're going to have sex tonight," and he says it 2 different ways. Right, just one after another, and you can just say it once, okay? I'm so glad that you love each other like that. You can just say it once and we understand. Thank you.
yeah, I did say that was a bit repetitive for my liking. But I'm the same. I don't to me, it kind of is similar to the cursing, where, like, sometimes I feel like it's in there just to use it as a star, like, just because you can, right? Or because it helps the story. Whereas here, I feel like they're a sensual band, maybe more so than sexual. It's like they're very overt about how they say things.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like a play for shock value. It doesn't feel vulgar. It does. You can tell it's coming from a genuine place of love and devotion. Was it my favorite line in the song? No. Did I feel like it took away from my enjoyment of the song? Not really.
No, it didn't take away from my enjoyment either. It's just something that I'm not always personally a fan of, which isn't their fault.
If we're going to be picky, I mean, basically, unless you want to hear us just say it's a 10 out of 10 again. If we had to be
we had to come up with something. But I do just love the line about running like a mad dog. I don't know what it is. I love dog, wolf imagery in a song. And
you do. That's how I felt about. I like anything about the moon and the sky.
Yeah.
Also, he says, and I keep talking to the wall till he's a friend of mine, which I thought was cute. Those 2 lines, those were in the beginning, the moon one and then that one. Those 2 lines reminded me of "Talking to the Moon" by Bruno Mars, because he says that he's like, "I'm talking to the moon. If anyone heard me, they think I'm talking to myself, but, like, I know someone is on the other side." So, like, he's talking to the moon. He's looking at the moon, and the moon should be jealous of you. And I'm talking to the wall so much that, like, it's almost talking back to me just because I miss you that much. So I thought those were cute. Maybe love songs were okay.
Yeah, I'm not getting a lot of I hate love song vibes from your review.
I'm just saying they're not like like I wouldn't pick like there's other songs on here I think I like more that aren't love songs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, no, I get it. I'm just making fun of you because I'm allowed to. I have a permit.
Who gave it to you? Can I talk to them?
Your mom did, actually.
Oh, never mind. I was telling someone today about how I don't like romance books, and they were like, "Why not?" And I was like, "Because to me, there's nothing more boring than sitting down and reading a story about 2 people falling in love, because, like, nothing happening."
Yeah, that, like, there can
feelings.
be a subplot, but, like, even rom-coms, if the only conflict is, like, intrapersonal, I get bored. Because, like, just say that you like her and move on.
Like, I'm trying to think of a rom-com set. I like 13 Going on 30, but 13 Going on 30 isn't about her falling in love. 13 About a 30 is about a 13-year-old girl waking up in a 30-year-old woman's body, and she's got to deal with that. She happens to fall in love with Mark Ruffalo along the way. Which, like, who wouldn't?
Yeah, we all would. I mean, one of my favorite rom-coms is The Proposal, and it does have primarily, like, interpersonal conflict, But it's also about Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds and Betty White being insane in Alaska. And what more could you want from a movie?
Or like I like Miss Congeniality with Sandra Bullock, where the purpose is she's an FBI agent undercover, and then also there's a nice little romance subplot with Benjamin Bratt. Again, I can't blame her. That man's fine. I have a type.
You don't say. Okay, next, we have been here for half an hour. We are on track 4. We're trying so hard. Okay. Rapid fire. I didn't really like this song, but I think it's fun. I wouldn't listen to it on my playlist, but when I'm listening to the album, it comes up. It's really fun. And also it does have one of the best lines. I'm sorry, it is about a dog again. He says, "I guess I liked playing with your dog. It made me feel like we had a son," which is just so perfectly insane.
This is blah, 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 yeah? I did not like the song when it first started.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I was like, what is going on? But I did like the drums. I did like, I hate your face, but I like your mums. And he says, my mother told me she never liked you at the end of the song, which, like, that's all the clue you need. And then he says, "You got me angry, and now I love punk." And I said, yeah, that's how that happens. That or you're depressed. And then he says, "And all my friends were right about you." I saw comments about the song before I actually heard it, and a lot of comments were like not positive about the song, which I would agree with if I thought this song was taking itself seriously, but it's not.
Yeah.
This is very much a song. This song is like, I feel like he's drunk and he's just on a night out and he's having a good time. He's like, whatever, I'm having a good old time. Nothing's really that serious. We should do this just because I think it'd be funny.
And that's honestly how most great songs are made. Do you know who makes genuinely good music and does not take themselves seriously at all? 303.
Oh, yeah. This song, it was good. It was fun. It was a little repetitive, but, like, it worked.
It was repetitive, but, like, on purpose. It was not supposed to be their magnum opus. It was supposed to be fun, and it was. The next song is called Baby Said. The first time I listened to this song, I did not like it. The second time I listened to this song, I liked it a little bit. And now I really like this song. Because I love it when women are mean. That's the end of my sentence.
I liked the song when I first listened, and then I liked it a little more, and now I like it a little less, but I don't dislike it. I kind of like hit my peak already. But basically, I like it because I think he brings up this idea of like, not brings up, but like to me it reminded me of this idea of like trust in a relationship, because he talks a lot of, basically the song's about how he's like trying to talk to his girlfriend, and every time he tries to talk to her, she's like, "I don't really want to do this, let's just have sex. I don't really actually want to talk to you." And he says, "I'm not afraid of you being vulgar, but why are you so vicious?" Which I think is a great line, because like he doesn't mind if you want to degrade him or if you want him to be submissive, whatever. But like, you should be able to have a connection and trust be respectful
about
a relationship
it.
requires trust in order for you to then want to be, for lack of a better term again, submissive to your partner. You do have to have a level of trust and like understanding. And he doesn't have that because she doesn't want to listen to him. And he's like, yeah, I mean, like, sure, having sex with you is fun.
But no offense, fictional or maybe real lady from this song, if you want to do that, it requires trust and it requires consent. And you can only be so mean before somebody revokes their consent. But like, also, if you're a pretty lady and you just want to boss me around.
But see, Elanor, you're giving consent, you see? That's the consent part.
I really hope my grandma has stopped listening to our podcast.
I, on the other hand, if you would like someone to boss you around, I'd do that for free.
I think Kalina's just coming out as mean.
Is it coming out if we all already knew that? Let's be real.
No, it's not.
I don't think anyone was voting me for like nicest lady they ever met.
No.
That's okay.
That's
okay.
No.
Anyway, yeah, I thought this was a cute little song. I do think I think a reoccurring theme is him being the lower on the totem pole in terms of power dynamics in the relationship, because I don't want to use that other word again. And that's and some people
We love to see it.
some people here like that a lot. Instrumentally, I really like. There was like a nice little guitar riff between like every like 8 beats, I believe it was, like every bar. A nice little guitar riff.
Yeah, it was.
Listen,
It had a funky little
we've
sound.
said this before, ages ago, about 5 seconds of summer, and not to sound hoity-toity about music, but like you can tell when a band plays their music. It makes a difference. I don't think it's like
you can
the end all be all, and it necessarily means they're good, but like it makes a difference.
Yeah, you can tell when musicians also play instruments, because it's a better almost marriage between the.
It's much more cohesive,
Yeah.
because the people who are directing the sound are also playing and creating the sound at the same time.
Yep. Not that you can't have good music without doing it, but it definitely helps.
But yeah, and if you're offended, take whatever we said with a grain of salt. Neither of us play any instrument. Any stretch of the imagination.
We just have degrees in media. We don't actually.
My toxic trait is I think I could play that thing. You know the one you play with your hands, the air thingy.
Yeah.
I think I could play one of those, no problem.
I mean, you could play it, no problem.
Play it well.
I don't necessarily. Are you talking about the theremin?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay, this song.
Yeah, this is Gasoline. First of all, he says he's been starting fires since he was 17, and I'm any sort of fire imagery, especially about setting fires, I'm there for. He's convinced me that this is a good song. This song they played for Ukraine at a concert that I do not remember the name of at the moment. But this is like, I thought this was a very nice song, but also it made me sad in the sense that we needed it, because it's a protest song. And he says, like, how are you sleeping at night? How do you close both your eyes, living with all of those lives on your hands? And I think a protest song, it sucks that we need it, but it really brings you together and makes you feel like you're doing something, even if you're not. It makes you feel better just for that little bit. And I think also the power in a protest song is that years from now, people will listen to it and it'll still be impactful. Someone listening to it 10 years from now will never feel it the same way I think we do, because we're currently living through it, especially considering the people in this band are about our age. I think I think most of them are all like 23. And it made me think of that Italian song, also Italian, Bella Ciao, where like I listen to Bella Ciao and I think Bella Ciao is a very moving song. I will never, I didn't live through World War II. It's not gonna hit me the same, but like, it's still powerful. And they use like a chorus of vocals in the chorus of the song, and I thought that was a very nice touch, especially given the context of the lyrics.
Yep, I agree. It is a good song as a song, and I also think it's a very impactful song as a protest song. And it was originally part of the Stand Up for Ukraine project.
Yeah, it's a good standalone, but unfortunately it's not just a standalone, but it's good at what it does.
It is good at what it does, and it has some really good and powerful, I think, maybe not imagery, but like commentary, I suppose, on the entire situation. And also, not to get political, but they're right.
Yeah, stand up for Ukraine.
Exactly. I feel like that's not even political. That's just obvious.
Yeah. Yeah. But we'll go to the next song, which is Feel. And I remember when we said we were going to go quickly, but I had a lot of thoughts about this song.
I actually have quite a few thoughts about this one.
This is the one I thought was blah, 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 because when Feel first started, I was like, we heard this already, because blah, blah, blah goes, first of all, it keeps the same, blah, blah, blah keeps the same rhythm the entire song. Like, it doesn't change from chorus, pre-chorus. It's like blah, 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 and that is the tune for every single lyric, which again, at first I was like, this is annoying, but then it worked. This song I liked because so when Feel started and he goes la, he starts out with his la la la's, and I was like, all right, you get it, you can make sounds, all right. But he says, don't need a lover, you need an animal. And then this, I noticed he had a second cocaine reference, which there was quite a few, like, and not like allusions to cocaine. Like, there's
just
like,
straight up, we're doing cocaine right now. Yep.
and then I really like his delivery on, I know what you want, I know what you need, which made me think of, a lot of people have talked about, like, I've seen this a lot online lately, is about Baby making metal music, which this band Sleep Token has the song The Summoning, which was blowing up, and that, like, the end of that specifically was like Baby making metal music, and this kind of gave me a similar vibe where, like, it's a heavier sound, but it's like, it's sensual and smoky and fun. And again, like I said, you know what it is, they have a playful sound, and I think they also make, like, those situations playful, like they're bringing out the fun in it. It's not just like, oh yeah, we have sex and blah 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 blah. It's like, it's a fun thing to do with your partner and have fun with another person, you know. Also, it reminded me of Wildflower by 5 Seconds of Summer, because he goes, I know what you want, I know what you need, I'm about to make you feel. And then
my big problem with this song is he says, I'm about to make you feel. I 100% thought that for the first 2 times I listened to this song that he was saying, I'm about to make you fiend. Because he's talking about drugs, and I don't know, that's just where my brain went because I wasn't looking at the lyrics, and I thought that would have been cool.
Because he says cocaine and then immediately after goes, I'm about to make you feel. So, like, what
Yeah,
were we
I
supposed
thought he was going to say fiend, and I was a little bit let down by that. That's not their fault. That's my fault for not knowing what words sound like. Also, I'm not a huge fan. There's a couple parts where he says we're rebels, and he just says the word rebel twice, and it took me a really long time to figure out that the line was just him saying the word rebel twice. So I didn't love that, but the song is very fun.
I'm skimming through the lyrics here, and I saw them do a cover of Blue Jeans by Lana Del Rey, and the only reason I'm thinking of this now is because he says blue jeans and leather a couple times in the pre-chorus. He says, blue jeans and leather, even better on the floor, light it up and let me lose your mind. Yeah, no, I just wanted to say they did a cover of Blue Jeans by Lana Del Rey. That made me think of that.
Was it good?
Yeah, I liked it. I'll be honest, that's one of those songs where, like, I will listen to as long as Lana Del Rey is not the one singing.
I have never heard a Lana Del Rey song
singing that song
on purpose.
Yeah. I like Happiness as a Butterfly, and then that is the only one I can think of. I think the first time I heard Blue Jeans was Bastille did a cover, but they did it from the guy's point of view.
Ooh.
Whereas when Måneskin did the cover, he didn't change the pronouns or anything. Which I have a lot of thoughts about changing pronouns when you do covers of songs. But that's not this episode. This episode we're talking about Måneskin.
Yes, it is.
And the next song is Don't Want to Sleep.
Next song is Don't Want to Sleep. This song is so much fun. I just think the first time when I was in the 5th grade, I'm so sorry that's how this story is starting. I learned that Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds was a reference to LSD. And I thought that was the most cool and clever thing that has ever happened. I did not know that song was the Beatles until like 2 years ago, but I did know that Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds was LSD.
Maybe you should have left at that last
and
part,
I thought
Eleanor.
that was brilliant.
Finish the episode. Oh, jeez.
It's been an hour. They're gonna stick with it. Anyway, in this one, he says, wearing Lucy's diamonds to get a little shine. And I just thought that was brilliant. And also the song is good.
This is definitely more along the Own My Mind vibe. I do think they had a very cohesive sound, but this, like, went straight back to... You know what else? Gasoline also was kind of similar, but this is more Own My Mind. I really like there's a nice little tempo. He says, so he opens up the song with dance, 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 dance until I die, medicate myself till my head is in the sky. When I close my eyes, I get too lonely, don't want to sleep at all. And then the tempo changes, and I really like that as the opening. I think this would have been a good album opener too.
I agree.
I like On My Mind better, but this would have been good. And he says, there's something in these strangers, momentary flavors. And then that made me hope that they were writing these songs, because I think they're good at it. And I'm sure they didn't write it entirely on their own, especially because it was in another language. But I think the sound throughout the songs and the themes that come up are so consistent that like they definitely, it was either they wrote them or they had the same person writing the whole time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it looks like, according to the credits, I haven't looked at every single one, but it does look like at least one of them is credited on every single song as a writer. And I agree. I do think that kind of comes through.
And then we got a great guitar solo from our man Thomas.
Great
And
guitar
I just
solo.
love music. I think I took a break around here because then I was like, all right, this is a lot of songs, about halfway through. But yeah, this is where I was like, I just love music. I like hearing songs that make me remember why I like music so much.
I agree. Yeah. Nope. This is the song that I did not think that I would like, but I very much like it.
Yeah, even the songs I didn't like love on the first listen, I still found something to enjoy, and then as I listened to them, enjoyed more. This next song is Cool Kids, and I will try to be brief about this.
Kalina, I'm going to just say one thing about this song, and then you can have it.
Okay. Okay, you go. Cool Kids.
Yes. I thought it was weird, and then I heard more about it, which Kalina will get into. I still think it's weird. I would not listen to it, but I think it's a funny idea, or not a funny idea, but I think it's a fun concept for a song. And Kalina, take it away.
Listen, we like when people stick to the bit, and that is what they did. First of all, I have to claim this song because they spelled cool with the K, and then he said, I'm addicted to rock and roll. And my brother and I both have K names. My dad's nickname starts with a K, so like we're the Ks, okay? That's our thing. I'm also addicted to rock and roll. And then this is the one I was getting mixed up with blah, 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 because it doesn't even sound like the same dude. He's doing this weird British accent. I did not get it. But then as you listen to the lyrics, you realize he's kind of mocking, but also like paying homage to, I guess, old UK punk songs, which is why he's doing this voice. But I think making rock music and punk music, especially today, is so difficult because there's like a culture of purity around it. Everyone's like, that's not true punk, and like, you're not in touch with your roots, and yada, yada, yada. And this is the one where he says, but my lyrics are all made up. So back to the idea of like, they're not taking themselves too seriously. They don't know what, like, they're making music, and they're trying to make good music, I'm sure. But at the same time, it's not like they're, because people wouldn't be happy if every band that came out wanted to sound exactly like The Clash. But then also, if you don't sound like The Clash, they're like, well, you're not really paying homage to the people who made punk music, and like, you can't make people happy. Also, I'm surprised, well, I know Eleanor's letting me talk, but I'm surprised she didn't bring up the, he goes, I know you think she's a hot chick, but I'm sorry, she prefers hot chicks, about the bass player,
really
Vic,
like this. I did really like that line.
And then I'm assuming she's doing like the ad libs in the background, and he's like, but he says, but cool kids, they do not vomit, at least not in front of Vic. And then she says, bitch. And then he says, I know you think she's a hot chick, but I'm sorry, she prefers hot chicks. And then Vic is in the background going, I'm sorry, which I don't think.
I do not think she is. Me either. And Vic, if you're listening, occasionally I can look hot. Thank you.
I haven't even gotten to talk about my favorite band member. But the thing that really cinched this for me that I thought was really cool, and yeah, I thought was, apparently this is according to Reddit, so take that with as much grains of salt as you want. Is apparently Damiano drank for the first time in 2 years to record the song, which is also why he sounds like that. And I think that brings up a great discussion about the art that can be created under the influence, because if you think of it like really great, like people talk about Pink Floyd, and Pink Floyd, they were absolutely doing every single drug under the sun, okay? They were tripping beyond belief. And like, I'm sure a lot of people argue, like, you can't make good music today. Like were the Eagles doing cocaine? Most definitely. Do I think the Eagles are one of the greatest bands ever? Most definitely. Do I think the cocaine is the reason for that? No. Do I think the cocaine probably helped them get there.
It definitely jump-started the artistic process in
I think there's a very
some ways.
important discussion to be had that we will not have now because we do not have time about art that can be created under the influence. Because while I do not think it is necessary, I do think there's an argument for why they kind of go hand in hand. Because why do you hear so many musicians dying because of drug or like getting involved in drugs? You know?
Moral of the story, don't do drugs. But if you do, just like keep a running tally of all the greatest thoughts you have, because at least one of them will be good. Sometimes you might think about the refrigerator and then convince yourself that you've invented the idea of the refrigerator. But sometimes you might have actually brilliant...
Sit on the drug idea for at least a week before you start to run with it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I could be here all day talking about purity culture and drugs. So, if not for you, the next song, Måneskin said we were having too good a time.
Yeah.
And then we need to be taken down a notch.
And Miss Kalina, I don't like love songs, said, I'm going to walk that one back for this. But I will say, in Kalina's defense, this song it's romantic. It's like obviously, objectively romantic. But it's not, this is going to sound awful. It's not like annoying about it. It's just like, I think you can just hear the devotion throughout this song. And I think that's what got to me, is because it's not just like, I love you. We've been dating for 2 weeks and you're the love of my life. I swear. It's like genuine devotion.
I also think when we listen to songs on the radio, and let's say you have a radio station on, and then every song you hear it could be 10 different artists and everyone is about their partner, and then kind of just the same themes come up, it feels just cheap and cheesy, and I'm like, you really couldn't come up with any other way to say this or anything else to sing about. Whereas here, one, we're getting range because we're not just listening to a whole bunch of love songs. But like I said, the devotion, it just feels, it's kind of the same idea of like, you can tell when a band plays their instruments. You can tell when something's real or not. You just, as humans, we feel that. And he says, there'd be no summer, there'd be no spring, if not for this love of mine. Also, you know what I just realized? I think it's because he doesn't talk about the person, if that makes sense. He alludes to them, but he never like gives them physical qualities. He's just like, it's more about him. He wants to be with them because he thinks they're wonderful, but it's never really like, you do this for me and you do this for me. It's about the love that he has for them and their love with each other. And then also this song made me think, like, if this is how poetic they are in English, if this is what they're producing in English, I think I'd cry all the time if I listened to them sing in Italian and understood it.
I think
I'm a Måneskin fan.
Honestly, I think I might be as well. I never thought this day. Actually, I'm not that surprised. I like their cover of Begging and their cover of The Killers. So
yeah, they do a Somebody Told
whatever
Me
that
cover.
song is named.
Oh.
Yeah.
Also, I think they're very well. Now, I know I said what I said earlier about purity culture. I didn't expect to like them so much, not because I'm a rock purist, but because I listen to a lot more rock music than Elanor does. I have a wider catalog to compare to, if that makes sense. So I didn't think.
I mean, you listen to rock music. I not even more than I do.
Fall Out Boy is punk rock. That's rock adjacent. Okay. When I say rock, I mean I use rock as an umbrella term. I listen to rock and roll. I listen to punk rock, alternative rock, all of that jazz. So not for me that like it's a matter of purity, and I only listen to specific rock from the 80s or whatever. I'm not like that, but just because I have a larger catalog to pick from and compare them to, I didn't expect to like them as much as I did, but I really enjoyed them, especially because they seem fairly well versed in the history of their genre. Here it's not as obvious, because he quite literally says in the song Nirvana and Billie Jean. But like throughout the music, like take Cool Kids for example, like you can tell they kind of know where their sound comes from and what it's based off of. And then also he says, how could I wake up? How could I sleep? And like, yeah, how could I wake up and how could I sleep? Honestly, I think they won us over with the time zone thing. So now anything they do, I'm like, This is great.
Yeah, honestly, If Not For You is a great song. It
Also, it reminds me of like a traditional power ballad.
apparently it was also recorded in just one take, which is insane. He really just thought of it and said, go, and then boom.
Well, not just that, because he sounds so sad in this song. I think if they took a second one, he wouldn't have finished.
That's true.
He sounds so sad.
Which I think is also adds to the emotion of it, because, I mean, you can feel it.
I was saying earlier, like, sometimes I think emotion is more important than vocal talent. No, he has vocal talent, but, like, here he's not relying on it as much as he's relying on the fact that he genuinely sounds miserable.
Mm-hmm.
And something about a man being miserable, you know?
Something about a man being miserable.
We don't have therapists, and you all don't get paid enough for that, so we're going to go to the next song.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this isn't going to get better. This song, I love this song. I've probably listened to this song about 100 times since this album came out. It is called Read Your Diary. The first time I read this, or I listened to this song, I had to stop it halfway through and write down a note that says, this song is just like a Fall Out Boy song. And it is, and basically, in the Fall Out Boy song, it's called Genesophysis, which unfortunately is the legal name of the song. Basically talks about this person walking around the house in their lover's clothes to try to understand them, and how they miss them so much that they're like trying to embody them. And this song is very, very similar. You talk about dancing in their person's shoes and reading their diary to get inside of them. And I know a couple songs ago I said, I don't like it when they're super overt about sex. Unfortunately, I have very loose morals. He says...
Okay, maybe don't say that.
One of the lines is, I cried on your nudes wearing your perfume. And then also talks about, show me the loving that you'll never give to a man. And they... look, Kalina, I'm sorry you have to hear this. There's also a line that says, I can be your toy. And we're going to stop that right there. I love this song. And it sounds so much fun. And also, I find it kind of cute that one of the lines is, I'm begging to feel something new. And I know that that's just like a regular line and that people use the word begging all the time, but I think it's kind of fun that they threw that in there.
Listen, remember when I was like, I don't like love songs, and then Måneskin was like, but what if we wrote them? And I was like, you know what? I'll hear you out. So I listen. My first note is, I love bass. I love the bass. I think everything should have more bass. Funny you made a connection to a song, because I also made a connection to a song. I went in the completely opposite direction, and it reminded me of a Taylor Swift song, because he says, brought you some roses, you didn't take them, which reminded me of, what is it, Back to December? You gave me roses and I left them there to die. Mm-hmm. And he's got this nice grit in his voice. It's not like a lot, and it's not nearly as gritty or raspy as like some other singers, but when it comes out, it's very natural, and I think it comes in at the right times, the perfect times. And similar to the toy line, and talking about how he's always willing to be the submissive partner, he says, I want to be the pill you swallow when you're looking for joy. Listen, this was a very simple song, but strong. It got the point across. And you used the word fun, which brings back my earlier point of, I think they make things playful. They do. Something that could be very intense and kind of, not vulgar, but like, for lack of a better word, vulgar. And
honestly, vulgar is a good word for it.
Yeah, vulgar and alienating in some senses, because, you know, everyone's into different things. So like, if you think about what you're into, some people might be like, I don't like that. But I think they make it, they tease out the general aspects of it being fun and playful and a good time. And so everyone's like, oh, this is fun and playful and I'm having a good time. Wow.
Also, one of the lines in this song is "Show me your kinks. I'm not afraid of them,"
Well,
and
I'm a
that's
genius.
a challenge.
I didn't even remember that line. But like I said, like everyone's not into what you're into, so like putting that out there can be nerve-wracking, but they do a good job of making it widely applicable. Widely applicable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the next few songs I actually do think we'll bounce through very quickly because neither Eleanor and I know a lick of Italian,
Yeah,
unfortunately. Probably for the best.
I do think so. The next three songs are in Italian, and as I said earlier, the first time I listened to this, I was cooking, so I wasn't tracking as every single song moved, changed, and I think it might have been a little better if they had dispersed these out through them. Like, I can see
Yeah.
why they kind of put them in one chunk, but also I think it might have been just a little better if they dispersed them differently.
Yeah, because this is song 12, the first one, so this is Mark Chapman. So that's song 12 out of 17. And so I was, by this point, convinced they weren't going to do any Italian songs, which if they had done that, I don't think I would have liked the album because I don't like the idea of them going fully English just because that's a good chunk of the audience. Because even if it helps more people understand, I think music is something like you don't have to have in a language that everyone understands. That's one of the few things you
Yeah.
can get away with that.
Exactly, like everybody's obsessed with that Shakira song, or was at least for a while, and it's not English, but it's still everybody can kind of maybe not understand it, but at least vibe to it.
Gasolina. Everyone likes Gasolina. Mm-hmm. I turn into a different person when that song comes on. Anyway, Mark Chapman. I like the urgency in this song, and I was reading later that this is their fastest song that they've put out ever, in beats per minute. So like it makes me like want to run. And this also I was like, oh, this, I think the speedy line delivery is kind of his thing because again, I don't speak Italian, so I'm not 100% sure on like when the line started versus ended, but it did feel like he was putting a lot into a short space. So I do think that's just how he sings. And then also after some Googling, I when we listened to the album, it had just come out, so the translations were like fresh off of like random websites on the internet. But the general theme is it's about a star and their stalker, which is why they named after Mark Chapman, who is Eleanor.
The man who killed John Lennon, who I think was a Beatle.
But I liked it because from what I could tell, it was from the point of view of the stalker. And he says he loves me, but I know he lies. And Eleanor and I could talk for ages about parasocial relationships. We listen,
do.
if you heard the audio before we started recording any episode, it probably comes up. And this just made me like, I don't want to speak every language. It's so frustrating to me that you could learn a language and never speak it as well as a native speaker does. It's so irritating to me. So then I had to go on to the next song.
The next song is called probably La Fine. It might sound different. Anyway, I believe this song was also about love, but I'll be honest, I completely forgot to have my translations pulled up.
This was the song that I think if we understood Italian, we would have officially cried because it seems like a similar vibe to Time Zone. But it seemed less about, not just about love, but also about yourself. What I'm assuming to be the chorus, because again, I don't speak Italian, so I can't tell you for sure if this is the chorus and if it was repetitive, but for some reason it reminded me of Let's Get It Started by the Black Eyed Peas. And I think more people should make music like the Black Eyed Peas, honestly.
Honestly,
have you heard?
Make really good music.
They make really good, like I know Pump It is a fun song, but have you ever listened to Pump It? That's such a good song. Pump It, Meet Me Halfway. Every time that song comes on,
Meet Me Halfway.
Oh, more people should make Black Eyed Peas music. Anyway, next song. We don't speak Italian. This was a good song, and I'm glad we got more than one song in Italian.
I agree.
The next one is Il Dono della Vita.
And apparently in this song, Damiano talks about Icarus. And he has an Icarus tattoo, and you know what, good for him. I appreciate him sticking to his interests.
I said I have no idea what he's saying, but I'm moved.
Yeah, this song translates to the gift of life, and it's supposed to be a hymn to the beautiful and simple things in life.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, I think this is another good example of like emotion, because I felt this without having any idea what he's saying. Also, I think it's interesting they can make emotional music that's like that acoustically is so, for lack of a better word, aggressive. Rock music obviously isn't the softest. Like, they have a couple power ballads on here, but rock music obviously isn't the softest in terms of sound. But I think they still managed to bring out emotion that like a slower song would. I wish I could speak about instruments more academically and like properly to get my point across. Basically, music is great. 10 out of 10. Now we have Mamma Mia. We've been here for a long time.
We've been here for so long. I'm so sorry.
I have this on my playlist.
Yeah, not to use the word submissive again, but we're going to do that.
There's no better word. Like, Googling synonyms submissive. I'll be back.
Yeah, and I would do... well, don't do that. The porn's going to come up.
Okay, how about submission synonyms? You keep talking. I'll figure this out. Don't worry. I'll go ahead and incognito.
No,
Is that worse?
I know. I feel like just for
Compliant?
the purposes of our friendship, Kalina doesn't want me to talk too much about this song because I feel like she knows too much about me already.
Oh, so much.
And this would just make it worse. But I just want to say that I like this song and I agree. And like, it is objectively weird. And I'm sorry. It's objectively weird to call your partner mommy. But also,
again, if that's what you're into, we're not yucking your yum, as the kids say.
No, exactly. And honestly, sometimes it is yummy. But this song is really good. And also, I love
I think Elanor should stop talking. I have this song on my playlist. This, for me, goes back to they're fun. They don't take themselves too seriously. Sometimes you just want to make a song that's fun and, like, isn't really necessarily about anything super serious. I didn't like it on my first listen, but it did grow on me. And this, funnily, we were talking about submissiveness, and which requires what, Elanor? Consent. And this song, for me, is very much about enthusiastic consent, which I think is another theme that kind of sets them apart from other
we stand consent here at Don't Quote Me on That.
Yes, but he's basically he's like, I just cannot wait to get a piece of you. Also, apparently I didn't like this. He says I don't like anything to do with spit, and he says spit your love on me, and I thought this whole time he was saying spread your love on me, which is like not better, but I just don't like spit. So
yeah, no, I'm not a big fan of it. I think sometimes you can say it in a hot way, but this was not one of those times for me. Sorry, buddy. Buddies. There are 4 people.
The consent, like, he's saying what he wants. He's like, spit your love on me, but he also wants his partner to say what they want, because he's like, tell me your limit, and then we'll cross the line again, which, like, I had some questions about. But anyway, my favorite, and then he goes, my favorite music's your which reminded me again of Wildflower by 5 Seconds of Summer.
Yeah, which is like saying it but not saying it.
Yeah, and
Kalina has me reading the lyrics, and I have to be very quiet, or else I'm going to say some nasty things that nobody wants me to say.
They have a big sound without being overwhelming, and they're very good at having a big sound without that competing or canceling out or taking away the effect of the emotion. Not in this case, but like the emotion or the meaning of the lyrics. And we'll move on to the next song before Elanor says anything out of pocket, because I think she said enough today.
Yeah, I've already been a little out of pocket.
This is Supermodel. We've got our third cocaine reference.
Woo!
I liked this was not one of my favorite songs. It's not bad. I just think it was, out of all of the songs, the most, I think this was a single. And so I think it was the most radio friendly out of all of them, and so to me it was just the most generic. It was a good song, but compared to the rest,
it was good, but it was definitely almost like, I don't want to say sanitized because it's in no way a clean song.
Yeah.
But
I think especially after, like, if this had been earlier on, I might have liked it more, but especially coming off of the themes and everything. Like, yeah, he still talks about cocaine. And, like, I really like the line, she loves the cocaine, but cocaine don't love her back. I thought that went hard. But I just think, I think sanitize is a good way to put it. Compared to what we've heard already, they kind of tamed it down.
Yeah. But still, the song is fun, and also, we don't need to be referencing OnlyFans in songs.
Yeah,
we can. He says, "Low-waisted pants on OnlyFans. I'll pay for that." And like, yes, you should. If you're going to be consuming content like that, it is probably best to pay whoever is making the content. Don't use the word OnlyFans in a song. That just, I think, dates the song in a way that is just very unnecessary.
Remember we were talking about Mamma Mia, and Elanor said something out of pocket, and then he said, she'll never love you, you just look a bit like her dad. I had to listen to that. And then unfortunately I still did like the song.
Yeah, I hated that. That was so dumb.
I also thought I'm not letting Eleanor talk anymore. Don't worry, we're on the last song, guys.
Yes, we are. Finally. Sorry, guys.
Except for
not really.
Loneliest.
Loneliest. Yes.
Yep. The other word I said wasn't a real word, actually.
I'm so sorry. I don't remember this song at all. It is. I remember the Supermodel song. I cannot pick up. I don't remember what this song sounds like. So,
would you like me to give you an artistic rendition?
Honestly, if you're up for it.
This is another like power ballad sort of song. He says, it starts out really slow and sad. He says, you'll be the saddest part of me, a part of me that will never be mine. It's obvious. Tonight is going to be the loneliest. Which, when I say obvious and loneliness, they don't super rhyme, but when he says it, they do. This is about, like, I really like this song purely because of the concept. Because I always say death doesn't happen to you, it happens to everyone else around you. So it's kind of talking about, like, him dying and leaving everyone behind. He says, I'm sorry, but I gotta go. If you'll ever miss me, give this song another go. And I just keep on thinking how you made me feel better and all the crazy little things that we did together. So and you'll be the saddest part of me. So basically when he dies, you're the saddest part of him because he's dead. Don't make a difference to him, right? And this is the first time in my life and the last time in my life I will agree with the sentiment that it is better to love and lose than not love at all, because I think that's a stupid argument. And then also in terms of like instruments, before the final chorus, he kind of sounds like Thomas, I think it is. It sounds like he's sliding on the guitar strings. And it also sounded like the hand machine. One time I said to Elanor about that, I said, it's the instrument you play with your hands. And she said, do you mean all of them?
I have a point, and I stand by what I said.
Yeah, but the problem was when you said it, I didn't realize that's what it sounded like. I was like, I'm very clear. You play it with your hands in the air. It's right. What do you mean? It got a tad repetitive. I think between Supermodel and this is like the second most radio ready. I do think this was like probably their last single, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, this was a single.
Yeah, so I liked it. I think I get why they ended the album on this, but now that I've heard the songs a bit more, for me personally, I don't like the last two songs are the least interesting to me, but I get why they ended on it. As in terms of an album concept, I think it makes sense. It was a little bit slower without losing any of the things we've gotten throughout the rest of the album.
Reading the lyrics, it does stick with kind of the general themes. It was a good closer.
Yeah, it was just like a titch more emo than the rest, so I think it was a good note to go out on before we got depressed.
Yes. unfortunately.
Anyway, do you want to go to a Måneskin show? Because like
Honestly,
I think I like these guys.
They were in Phoenix not too long ago, and one of my coworkers went to see them and said that they put on a great show. So if we can ever...
From what I've seen, they look like they have fun.
Oh, 100% they have fun. I think we'd have a lot of fun. My top favorite songs were not in order. Not in order, but Read Your Diary, Time Zone, and Own My Mind.
We're so embarrassing. Mine were Own My Mind, Time Zone, and Mark Chapman. Elanor and I don't like each other. What do you mean?
No, we don't. I don't know Kalina, actually. I've never met
Yeah,
anyone.
actually, this is the first time I met Elanor. Listen to my last 2 episodes, clearly. Mm-hmm. I was flying, having the time of my life.
Yeah.
Anyway, closing thoughts. I was shocked by how much I like them. I think everyone should... I think everyone could get something out of this album, even if it's just one song.
Yes, I agree. It was very good. I didn't expect to like it, but I am glad that I liked it. I'm glad I branched out.
If you catch us at a Måneskin show, mind your business.
Yes. Or don't mind your business. We'll be having fun either way.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening. Next time, maybe we'll try to get our episode under an hour. But probably not.
I mean, we tried that today. Imagine if we weren't trying. That's the worst part.
I think it's just because the
well, we
the
had a half
album was
hour to make
17
up for from
songs.
last week. Because last week was only 30 minutes, so we had to,
Oh, then perfect.
mathematically.
We're fine. Yeah.
Anyway,
We're
if there's anything you want us to
geniuses.
check out, we'll listen to anything in any language. I can't promise we'll have intelligent thoughts about it, but we will listen to it and talk about it. So if you want us to talk about anything, comment below. Like and subscribe.
Have a good day.
What year is this?
Yeah.
We'll see you next week.
2023. Bye.
Thanks for listening. Don't quote me on that. One day we'll have an outro, but it's not today.